So thank you for coming to Lead Gen Levers, and this panel was kind of brought to you by you guys. As we started asking questions of what was really required and what you wanted to know and learn about, there was a lot of different things, and some people, didn't quite know what lead gen fit their style or their personality. So we thought, why don't we just get 3 or 4 different guys up here that are doing amazing in their lead gen style, and if that's something that you want to jump onto it. Wow. And my goal here is today to kind of open the doors for you to some things that perhaps you're not doing, and to see how these guys are preparing themselves to have big success by the end of the day, and just expand our horizons, meet new people, learn different things, and just take our business to the next level. So I'm going to let themselves introduce themselves, and then I got a bunch of questions in here. We'll open it up to Q&A at the end, and we'll wrap it up by 3 o'clock for sure. I don't know if we're going to be that long, but we're here to have fun with it and learn together, right? Okay, so on my bachelor number 1, who do we have here? Yeah, do you want to switch? My question for you is...
I love the way, Vincent, I love the way that you suggested we're going to open doors to new lead gen ideas. And Colin likes it when people don't have any hang-ups about lead generation.
That's right.
Anyway, really, sorry, what was the question?
Who are you?
Who am Michael? Michael Tuff.
Michael Tuff. And Michael, what did you do before real estate?
I was a location manager in the film industry for 25 years, so I would find and organize locations for the film industry, for TV series, for feature films.
Wow, cool.
And before that, what were you before that?
A baby.
Oh, sorry. I was a child actor, Kirby.
Yes.
Beautiful. And Colin, tell us a little about who you are, your background, where you came from.
Sir Colin Campbell. Background, I was in retail sales 15 years. So was a district manager, worked my way up, so ended off as a district manager. So retail sales was in my blood. Sales, I've always enjoyed sales. So took a switch to do something new, and here's where I am in real estate.
Beautiful, beautiful.
My name's Kirby.
Yeah.
My name's Kirby Chan. Before this, I was a real estate appraiser.
And before that?
Ran a real estate appraisal company for many years, and I think that has helped as a foundation to my real estate career.
And before appraisal?
We all know the answer, that's why Colin's digging.
Before that, I was a fashion designer, a lingerie designer.
Good transition into real estate, I'm sure. Yes.
Easy transition.
Who do we got in the end there, Vincent?
Vincent Baumgart. Before real estate, I was working for Swiss TV, producer, small local stations as well. Never thought I'd end up in sales. I was never a salesperson. I still don't consider myself a salesperson. Yeah, that's my background.
And before that?
Before that was probably a student working in bars, mini-put area, all kind of stuff.
Come on.
Professional soccer player.
Soccer.
Quarter.
Perfect. Okay, so we kind of had an idea of what some of the lead gens are that we're talking about here. So we're talking about door knocking, cold calling. Kirby does Facebook, a lot of online lead gen. The whole idea here is to dive deeper into what those are, right? And so, Michael, your go-to lead gen is?
Door knocking.
Okay, and tell us a little bit about what that is for you.
Well, I have we have 2 farm areas. We have a farm area in Aurora of 2,300 homes and a farm area in Innisfil of 3,000 homes. So we have little flyers that we make up every time we go out, and just what everybody really wants to know. What's my house worth? They don't necessarily want the sales pitch on how great we are. It's what's my house worth? That's all that's really important to them. And we just go out and we door knock. We do 100 doors a day. So in about 2.5 weeks, we get the farm area done in Innisfil, and about a week and a bit, we get the farm area done in Aurora. So every other month, we're in one of those farms, and so cumulatively, with the leveraged use of all of us, we're at 30,000 doors a year.
Wow, cool. And door knocking is the primary lead gen source for you. Do you follow that up with anything else?
I would love to. I would love to hire, not you specifically, because you're too good at it. I'd love to have an inside salesperson for sure. I would love to bring a junior associate onto the team and follow Marvin's farming system and help them get their own farm set up in a geographic area of their choice. Obviously, we're working our database. I think last year, 23% of our sales were actually from our direct database and past clients.
Fantastic, fantastic. Colin, your go-to was led to cold calling, but talk to us about cold calling.
Yeah, before I got into cold calling, I started door knocking. And I door knocked for almost a year and a half. Enjoyed it, was really good at the doors because I like to chat with people. However, I realize real estate is a contact sport. And the more contacts I make equals more contracts. So, which led me to start dialing on the phone. So while the average person is knocking 100 doors, I'm talking to 100 people every day. So just so that I can hit more people, which can translate into more contracts.
And in perspective, so in the time it takes me to talk to probably 16 to 17 people, he's got probably talked to 100.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And to follow the door knocking piece of it, Vincent, that's your go-to, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. For me, it was kind of like I just didn't know what else to do. Right, I started 3 years ago in Toronto. I never forget my first day in real estate when I was finally licensed. I started taking bold before I was licensed. I had nothing to show. Like obviously, I mean, we were reporting numbers. I had 0 appointments, 0 BRAs, 0 nothing. Right. The only thing I could show was my bold 100, which means making 100 contacts a day, which I did at least once or twice a week. Plus, I know my first day working in a business, I was sitting in my condo on a bed calling random people, and it was the most frustrating experience ever. And I never thought I would ever work a day in real estate again. So I had to find something else that worked for me, and as you all know, my father-in-law's been a passionate door knocker. I think he probably invented doors, I don't know.
You're not far off from that statement.
Who's your father-in-law?
Tom Mitchell. And yeah, so I went out in the streets. I loved being outside. Became insanely passionate about it. Just the fact that I was able to walk 3 hours every day and get some vitamin D, some sun, meeting people. It was just all over great. But over the years, it changed. Like first, it was just really I enjoyed it. And then I became more purposeful on it. We can talk about this later. But yeah, it's door knocking all the way. So last year my first year I did 27,000 doors, then the second year 27,000 doors, and last year I did 30,000 doors.
Wow.
This year I'm going to step back a little bit because I realized at some point you kind of reach the ceiling. It's not the more doors you hit, the more business you get. At some point it hurts other areas of your business like the follow-up, so you got to keep a balance.
Right. No, that's good insight. Kirby, you do things a little bit differently than your typical lead gen. You've kind of, not to say you created your own, but you're entering areas where not a lot of people have had success because it's not been around very long. So what do you do?
Well, first, I'll start with, I guess I do things a little differently. I don't have 30,000 doors. I have about, in my farm, I have about maybe 400 doors. And then I communicate with my people through Facebook.
And how do you do that?
Through Facebook, I message people on Facebook. I comment on their post. I like their post. And we have conversations through messaging, through chat.
Through chat, yeah.
So it's through typing where we develop a relationship.
And really, and the kind of the current theme along here is all about developing that relationship. So you're just doing it from behind a keyboard. That's the only difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like an ISA kind of mentality, we have a Facebook ISA where they help me broadcast my message to my people there.
Right.
So I craft it and broadcast it out, connect with people. with my message. So instead of me messaging 500 people, I write one message and it goes out to 500 people.
Gotcha. Good, good. So we kind of started the session off by what their background was, and what I'd like to know is, you know, some of the things that you learned from your background that translate right into real estate. Because I'm a big believer, whatever background you come from, it translates into real estate. You might just have to look at it a little bit differently. So Michael, you know, you've spent many years in the film production world and managing people. How does that translate into real estate?
The skill set for me, I always said in the film industry, my job was to find the perfect location, negotiate the contract, and keep my client safe through the transaction. So when the company was on the road with their 18 transport trailers and 200 crew, my job was to make sure to be the buffer zone and protect the crew, to make sure that the real world never infiltrated them. So the find the perfect location, negotiate the contract, and protect your client was a very simple transition, obviously, into real estate, because, I mean, that's really what we do. And then early in my career, it dawned on me, I mean, I had no problem knocking on doors to find the perfect house to film in. And I would go out day in and day out and knock on doors, and my aha and the paradigm shift for me was, if I could go out and do that every single day and make the producer rich, why can't I go out every day and make me and my family better off?
For sure, wealthy, yeah. Yeah, no, that's good. Wayne, why did I call you Wayne?
That's all right.
Colin.
I look like Wayne.
That's
okay. Yeah.
Hang on a second, let me get a picture of Wayne here.
Yeah. For me, because when I was a district manager, I was managing I was responsible for managers that have been in the company as long as I've been on earth. So for me, it was just building relationships. I think when I first started managing as a district manager, I was 23, 24. There were people in the company who's been in the company for 26 years, 32 years, 40 years.
Before you were born.
Yes, and here I am, I'm leading these people because I'm now the district manager. So for me, it was always developing relationships. And I know relationships is key in anything we do. So coming over to real estate, it was a very easy transition because people like them, and we just need to break it down to, you know, just that individual person. And if you're doing it right and you're doing it consistent, you can be very successful in this business.
So Kirby doesn't want to answer this question, so well, let's change it up a little bit. Listen, let's talk about, so you go out and door knock every day, or is it 5 times a week you go out?
Yeah.
And talk to us a little bit what that daily rhythm looks like for you. Like, how do you start your day?
I drop our son off at school and then I go out right away. I find it extremely important that you stick to a routine. And if you do it long enough, it becomes a habit, and at some point you just can't avoid it anymore. And that's the stage where I'm at. So I don't need to convince myself. It's just part of my daily routine. It's like tying up your shoes or whatever. I found it a bit this year, especially with a lot of other things going on, more challenging to kind of not have any showings booked in the morning, or someone wants a listing appointment before 12 o'clock. It's super important you really block these 3 hours because it's so easy to get sidetracked, and you find a million reasons why not to go door knock or not to lead generate in general in the morning, whatever it is. So as long as you really keep the morning open, then you'll do your thing and you come back to the office and you've already achieved something. No matter what the rest of your day is going to look like, it's been a good day because you've done something. At the worst, you've done something for your own health. You've been walking.
Sure.
You might not get a lead or nothing, but you've been out there, and that's already a great sense of accomplishment at 12 o'clock.
Amazing, yeah. And talk to us about how you know where you're going to go door knock. Like what area or what streets or things like that.
Yeah, it's if I want to call it farm, my farm is Aurora. So I just knock Aurora all over. I'm usually 4 times at every door in town. Sometimes when I'm fast and I realize, well, I was just in that pocket 2 months ago, then I'll switch it up and maybe hit a pocket in Newmarket. So I got a map broken down in different zones. This is what I bring when I door knock. That's all I have with me. that's the map. That's Aurora. So it's different zones, and I just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and do it all over again. Sometimes I break it up. If I have sold a house, I'll do maybe a circle prospect that just sold 100 doors or something, or before an open house. But I try not to give it too much thinking or to strategize too much, because as Colin said, it's a numbers game. At the end of the day, I don't care if I get a lead here or here or here, or as long as I knock on these doors and meet these people, I'll get leads and ultimately listings from it.
Fantastic. Kirby, your daily rhythm includes what?
So this past weekend, I want to share something. I finished a course called Landmark Forum. Anyone taking Landmark Forum?
No.
One person? Yeah. So after Landmark Forum, my life changed. So are you talking about after my life changed or before?
3 days ago.
Before. You can understand, right? So after Landmark Forum, my schedule is 9 o'clock. I'm at the doors, because I started my career at door knocking, and so after a couple of years, it turned into Facebook, right? Working on Facebook. Now with the virtual assistant that's helping me doing the Facebook, I've passed, that system, passed it on. I can go back to door knocking, go back to my farm area. So the 9 to 12 is door knocking, and like Vincent said, really after door knocking, the team allows me to do whatever I want.
Sure.
Really.
Yeah. And what I heard there, I think Colin mentioned it, was leverage. So Kirby created a lead gen system that can be what? Can be leveraged out, right? And into a piece that, for his virtual assistant is where, Kirby?
In the Philippines.
In the Philippines.
Yeah.
How cool is that? How would you like to have your lead gen done halfway around the world for you?
Different time zones.
Yes, please. I don't care where it is.
Not breaking any RICO rules.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, there's no RICO rules broken.
No, there isn't. No, there
There's
isn't.
not.
There isn't, because they're not talking about buying and selling or
No.
anything. They're transmitting my messages to people that I want to be transmitted to.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Colin, your daily rhythm from the moment you get up.
My rhythm, my day starts very early,
Yeah.
4:30 every morning. So 4:30, then from 4:30 to 5 is when...
So this is like dinner time for you then, yeah?
Yeah, this is late actually. So 4:30 to 5 is just spending time alone. From 5 to 6 I work out. 6 to 7 I might start doing some little work, then helping my wife getting the kids ready for school. I'm at the office 8 o'clock every morning, 7:45, 8 every morning. And during that time, for my first half an hour, it's more listening to just motivational talks, whether it's a book I'm listening to, something of that sort to keep my energy up, because I hear an average 100 no's every day. So I need to be in a right space to go through hearing no, 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 no. Why are you calling me? Click. So I need to really be in a good space. So every day it's just something motivational I'm listening to, but it's music or some podcasts. And have a meeting with my team from 8:30 to 9, and then 9 o'clock sharp we're on the phones.
I love that you're saying that about the being in the right spot. I think that's super important when you lead generate, no matter what it is, door knock, call, whatever. You really need to be in a positive state of mind. Like, not every day is good for me neither. Like, there's days where I'm absolutely down. I'm still out there, and sometimes that actually brings me up again. But you transfer your energy into the conversations you have at the door, at the phone, and it's just you just get such better results when you start high up than when you're like Debbie Downer. And there's no way to avoid it, but there's a means to kind of get out of that funk. And for me, it's sometimes I don't know. I'm listening to like Eminem in my car, like 8 Mile, like One Shot, One Opportunity, or whatever it is, like or Guns N' Roses. Or, for me, it's mostly music. I just give myself 10 minutes and go out after, whatever helps. But it's important. So I'm glad you brought that up.
That's such a key one too, and thanks for diving into that, Vincent. Last week, Jen Jennifer Jones and I were instructing a class here, and I know Michelle's shaking her head because she was here for it. And we talked about lead gen, and sometimes when we get up, that whole mindset is, I got a lead gen today. And we kind of said, well, what if you change that? I got to go generate funds for our Hawaii vacation today. Or you just change the name of it. I got to go pay off my house today, and I'm doing it like this. And just that whole mindset kind of changed the way we looked on stuff. And having that right state of mind is a big key, which kind of jumps into where I want to take
What I
partners.
can even mention, I'm not sorry to cut you off there. When it becomes a habit, you no longer have those conversations. If I don't lead generate today, it feels like something was missing in my entire day. It's now a part of me. It's like you going through half your morning without brushing your teeth. Something feels weird, right? So I have to lead generate every day. It's now that habit in me. So if I'm not doing it, it's like my day is off.
And one thing Gary just said, I have to lead generate. Mindset is everything. I can lead generate.
I choose to.
And for me, one really like changing moment of my life was, and it's probably about more than 10 years back. I spent the weekend in a rehab center for paraplegics in Switzerland. People who are paralyzed from here on or from here on, and it's young people. So you're 25, like a fool in your life. You jump off somewhere, and it happens. And seeing these people trying to get in a car or out of a car, they have like these training centers. Like they work to get ready for a life in a wheelchair. Takes them 45 minutes to get in the car, another half hour to get out of the car. The sweat's dripping down. Once you realize how blessed you are that you just have legs you can walk with, you don't think about, I gotta go out. You're like, man, I'm lucky I can go out and do that. I have a voice, I can talk, I have eyes, I can see, I can feel. Like that alone is my biggest motivation, and that alone doesn't give me an excuse not to do it, day in, day out.
Awesome.
Well, and I'm just
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just flipping through MREA. I mean, right in the very first several pages of MREA, if you have faith in the fact that somebody else has done it before you, you simply have faith in that, and you combine that with action. It's inevitable that success is going to show up. It's worked for somebody else. I mean, I was listening to the mastery session yesterday with Lance Loken. I don't know if you had a chance to listen in on it. I mean, how do you go from 0 to 1,700 deals in a year? And he said, well, someone else has done it, so I'll just go to work and do it. And it's as soon as you recognize that it's not a have to. You're just going out and doing your job because it's a part of your life. It's a part of who you are. Resolve the fact that lead generation is mandatory in this business. You have 2 jobs in real estate: sell real estate and generate leads. I mean, my lips move when I door knock. They're home, they're happy, they want to do business with me today. They're home, they're happy, they want to do business with me today. I'm sure if people were looking out the window, they'd be laughing. Where's his earbud? Because he's clearly talking to somebody. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fantastic. That's why we're here. Dive into some of this rabbit trails that this takes us on. And the message that I'm hearing, and I want obviously we always want your honest answers, but is it every day you wake up, you feel like doing lead gen? Yes? No?
No?
No. Right?
No.
Colin?
I feel uncomfortable if I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there's that piece to it.
Yeah.
Kirby, do you feel like doing the art or the job of lead gen every day?
What you call lead gen? Okay. I don't do lead gen, so yes, I do that action which you call lead gen.
Right. Right.
I'm with Colin. I feel absolutely very uncomfortable if I don't do it. I feel like I've missed a workout, or I've done something wrong. My day isn't complete. I needed to go to bed at the end of the day and be satisfied.
Right. Right.
It's the most-
I mean, I agree with 100%. I mean, I don't feel comfortable if I haven't done it. Do I want to do it every day was the question for me that I heard. I mean, it's that great, one of the best-selling authors, I can't remember which one it was asked a question by a journalist, what do you do when you don't feel like writing? He said, well, I write.
Yeah. It's just what you do. It's
It's what
ingrained.
you do.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's important to understand the fact that we keep landing here, but it's all about mindset, right? And if we want to do 100 transactions within the next year, how do we do that? Well, it all starts with the actions, and if the actions aren't equating to what our goals are, then we could just be sitting up here on stools talking about nothing, right? Like, and that's why these guys are here, because they're taking that action. Whether they want to every morning, if they're feeling under the weather or not, they're still doing it. And that's the one reason why they're up here, why I admire them for that. Okay, the next question that I had on my list here, but we kind of gone over it, and I don't know if you want to dive a little bit more into it, add to it if need be, but the question is simply this: what specific things do you do to prepare for your lead gen activity? Do we need to dive into that anymore? No? You're all looking like no.
If I could just comment, pardon, sorry?
Oh yeah, go for it.
I mean,
Yeah.
You meet so many people, whether it's in real estate, any business, and it's your mark, get set, get set, get set, get set, and people ask me, well, what do you take out door knocking? Well, what do you say when you're door knocking? I didn't know what to say the first time I went out. I had a RICO, I was this close to a RICO violation, a RICO complaint my first week in the business, for goodness sakes. Because apparently, according to the managers of both offices, Michael was a little aggressive in his approach. Well, if you've met me in this office, you know that there's that element to my personality. And you know, so many just, what do I do next? And they focus on getting their website ready. My card isn't ready. One of my great mentors in the business had the wrong phone number on his 4 sales signs for the first 6 months, for goodness sakes. It didn't stop him from selling a lot of real estate his first 6 months in the business. Just go and do it.
Just do it.
Do it, yeah.
Well, I want to add that we do prepare for our events. When I go door knocking, it's all about our events, and so we have months in preparation for all that. And our Facebook communication is all about our events again. And so again, we have months of preparation to gear towards our movie event, our summer farm event for the kids, our bowling night, and then for the neighborhood is the community yard sale, which Gary taught me over there. And so that's this weekend.
Beautiful.
And so
Beautiful.
always a motive, always a purpose.
And some of that, it has to do with, well, it's specifically that daily rhythm. You're doing that same thing every morning. Like Colin gets up early, he spends time on himself first. So when he's on those phones, getting the up to 100 no's, it just doesn't matter. It's like putting your armor on for the day, right? It doesn't matter, because he knows it's taking him closer to that next yes, right? Good, good. So how do you know you're doing the right lead gen lever?
The right lead gen what?
Yeah, how do you know you're doing the right type of lead gen?
I don't think there is a right type. Whatever is right for you. Like, I mean, I could never do what Colin's doing. I never did a single mojo dial in my life. I wouldn't even know how to set it up. I have no clue.
How would they find that right time?
Who?
These people right now.
Well, I would say just try whatever works for you, whatever you're confident with, whatever you can. If you hate door knocking, then you're probably not going to do it. Then you can find something else that you like. There's so many ways of lead gen. So people love doing home shows, whatever, events, call, whatever works. There's no best way, I would say.
Yeah.
But you can become the best at every way you want. So.
You want to add to that at all, Colin?
I still don't know if what I'm doing is the right lever. However, I'm out there and I'm doing it, right? And it is my goal to add more levers to what I'm doing as well. So I think I'm comfortable enough where it's a system now over the phones. I'm looking at adding open houses next. We're looking at adding what Kirby is doing. So constantly learning, because I don't ever want to sit on a stool that only has one leg. So if anything were to happen with any one of those, I want to make sure I'm on a stable foundation. So as much as we're on the phones every day, we're also exploring what are the next legs that we can add to our stool to keep us firm.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So I added Colin's repertoire into my team. So we have somebody calling 4 hours a day, and we have 2 people door knocking, and then we tie it all in with the Facebook on top. So everybody they're adding or calling their door knocking, they get all added to Facebook in our database. So that's
Beautiful.
our strategy.
I think also a common mistake that most people make, it's human nature. You discover something that maybe you're not good at, you're weak, and our automatic mindset is to go to how do we improve that? Strength Finder 2.0 is a great read and a great little program that you can find out what your real strengths are.
I like that.
So rather than focus on how do I get better at what I'm not good at, discover what your real strengths are and pour your whole life into making sure you get better there, respecting that we also, a stool has to have minimum three legs to not wobble and fall over. So for us, the door knocking certainly is the primary one, working the phones, calling our sphere, calling our database, working open houses. I'd love to layer in inside sales. I think that would be fantastic. But find the one passion that you're good at and just get great at it.
Yeah.
Get great at it.
I love that you said that, because we're often taught to work on the things that we're not great at, right? And you get discouraged. You work on the things that you're amazing at, and it's exhilarating, and it provides energy.
Well, it's
And-
the Pareto principle.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, the 80-20 principle.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Good. Okay. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk to us about, how do you measure your success? So you go out and door knock your 27,000 doors or your 100 doors a day, sorry? Yeah, 100 doors a day. How do you measure that success, Michael?
Well, Vincent and I talked about it a couple of times already this year, because I'm finding the open rate is dropped. I was talking to my coach about it yesterday, that the open rate is dropped considerably. Our success is how many names are you adding to your database every day. Focus on the actions, not the results. When you're first getting started, the key is add names to your database. So if you can come back from a day of door knocking and you've got 3, 4, 5 new names to add to your database, that's a great day. Mm-hmm. That's an awesome day. Obviously over time, your success comes from, oh my gosh, I got my first listing appointment. Oh my gosh, I got my first listing. Hey guys, I got my first listing in my farm area after almost 15 or 16 months of door knocking. I got my first listing and I got fired in 4 weeks by the seller because I overpriced the listing. I was a complete and total boob, and some other realtor came in and priced it properly and sold it in 2 weeks. Who recently just joined our office. God bless her, she's awesome. No, I love her to death. She was kind enough to call me when it happened and say, here's what happened, Michael, and I'm really, really sorry that you weren't able to sell it. I admire what you're doing. And I respect her for taking the time to do that. That shows she's a great professional. It just goes to show also that, you know what, you get a great result, woohoo, and then you fall flat in your face. As Gary Keller says, a successful person is someone who's just failed more often.
Yeah.
Did I answer the question?
Absolutely.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
really did.
No, it's good. Colin, success.
For me, it's one appointment a day, or 5 new nurtures in the database every day. So it's one, if not both. So as soon as we pick up that phone and we start dialing, the goal is 1 appointment a day. Before,
Each?
yes.
Per person on the team?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that is our goal. Before it was, let's talk to 100 people. And I find I was whipping through 100 people. And then at the end of the day, there was nothing to show for it. I might have gotten 1 email or 1 person added to the database. And I think I did that for almost 4 months. I was on just a wrong path. However, it led me to, and this is where it's great for us here in the room, where you can learn off of my experience. Instead of just contacts, our goal is that appointment, because if we are not sitting face to face, there's no way we can sign that contract.
I hope everyone wrote that down or understand what he's saying. He had to change his goal because he wasn't actually getting the outcome he wanted. And now he's getting the outcome, right?
Well, if I recall, and maybe I'm wrong, but you were in Bold. We were in Bold in the basement in Markham.
Yes.
In a hotel in Markham when you had that aha.
Yes.
Up until now, my day has been about just making 100 contacts. Suddenly it dawned on me, no, the goal is to get an appointment.
Get an appointment, yeah,
And we all make that mistake.
Yeah.
We get so focused on the task, not the result.
not the result. Correct. Thank you, Mike.
No.
Kirby, how do you measure the success of your lead gen?
I measure it by the size of my tribe. So how big's my tribe, and if I'm adding more people to it.
And a tribe for you isn't 10,000 people. It's that 400 that you talked about earlier, right?
350.
350.
Yeah.
And why is it so small, Kirby?
Why? This is where I am right now.
Yeah.
350. Yeah. When it's at 500, it'll be 500.
So let me ask that a different way.
Okay.
How often can you connect with and have good communication with 350 people? Much more than
Yeah.
500?
So my philosophy is, of course, with my lead gen, what you call lead gen, is go deeper with my people. So it's multiple touches in my farm area, and multiple touches to my sphere.
Right.
So there's no doubt when anybody in my tribe says recommends Kirby Chan, there's no doubt that they will recommend Kirby Chan, because that's a question we ask often. Is
I like that script. Share with us that script.
okay, we ask often that if your friends or family is thinking of making a move, like, do you have a realtor that you recommend them? And these are people in my tribe, and you may assume, and you know what assume stands for, right? Okay, we can't sit here.
It's on video.
So-
But yes, we have imaginations.
Yeah, and then so it doesn't make a donkey out of you and me, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is you ask everybody, and it reprograms their mind that you are the realtor of choice, because they answer you. And if it's not you, like they don't say it's me, then they're removed from the tribe, and they don't get those benefits anymore.
Yeah. I used that script this morning, and this was a guy that I hadn't seen since last summer play soccer with, and that's how I ended the conversation. Because he was asking me about real estate. I said, well, Tony, if anyone's asking, you're telling them that I'm your agent, right? Because absolutely I am. So it's just that we would have never made that connection if I hadn't dropped that last little, not hint, but more of a, this is how it's going to be. And sometimes people need to be told what to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Can
Well,
you
and
say
Rob-
that again?
oh.
Like say the script again?
Oh, yeah, it's called The Chosen One script. And so it's from Michael J. Mayer, give him credit. The book is, he wrote a book called 7L book, 7 Levels of Discipline. No.
Levels of Communication.
7 Levels of Communication, 7L book. So it's, if your friend or family is thinking of buying or selling a home, if you have a realtor you refer or recommend. And there's only 4 possible answers to that, which is you, no one,
My uncle.
your uncle, and top producer in the area. So if you find an answer for those 4, and a script for those 4 answers, then yeah, you're set.
And if it's a no, then it really should, I would really like to I would really
Yeah.
like to have the opportunity to build that trust so that I'm the person that you choose. Would it be okay if we do that?
I raised my hand, I make it funny. Like yesterday I made it funny to a lawyer. I said, hey, can I apply to be that realtor?
Can I apply? I'd love that.
Yeah, you can apply.
Would you be offended if I applied for that job?
Yeah, she says
You
yes.
won't be.
She says yes, you can apply, and then I'll be like, okay, what would I need to do?
Yeah.
That's the
And
key
just-
question. What
just
do I
listen.
need to do to win
Just
your
listen.
business?
Yeah, just listen.
Your trust, for sure, for sure. Door knocking, Vincent. How do you measure that? What's a successful day for you at the end of the day?
I mean, the measure of success is getting the lead. I kind of like the bold law, what's it saying? Stick to or focus on the plan, not on the problem. Like the problem is getting the leads, getting the appointments, selling your house. The plan is the lead generating action itself. So I don't really get too discouraged when I don't get the leads, although I like where Colin's coming from of being purposeful. But that doesn't mean if I get 2 leads, I go back in the car and call it a day. I'd say if I get a lead or 2 a day, that's great. That's kind of my goal. If I don't get a lead, that's fine as well. I mean, I remember last year I went 2 weeks without getting a single lead, and then there's a day where I got like 6 leads. It doesn't matter at the end of the day, and that's usually before I go on vacation and Christmas. I take all my spreadsheets, I print them out, because I put all the numbers in every time I come back, like doors knocked, people spoken to, leads, and time spent on it. And it's always coming down to the same very simple formula, roughly 100 doors, 25 contacts, 1 lead.
There's a couple of things I want to jump in on. I want to make sure we all are on the same page with what a lead is. What is a lead?
Well, I think that's a good question to ask. Some people define that different. For me, a lead is someone who's going to do something either this year or next year.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. That's good.
You have my definition, right?
What's
You guys-
that, Kirby?
You guys got that? That's script.
So a lead is someone that's going to refer you.
Yeah. It says yes to that script.
Yeah. Perfect. What's a lead to you, Colin?
Within the year.
Yeah.
So,
Michael?
so only this year, or would you take someone on that's, let's say, next year?
Well,
Year out, summer,
18
fall.
months. 18
Yeah,
months is what
okay.
we're looking at.
Yeah.
If not, they become a nurture. Like 2 years out, that becomes a nurture for us. And maybe at this point, we're just splitting hairs to really break it down.
Mhm.
But a nurture, they're 18 months or 2 years out. We're going to be touching them ever so often. A lead now, we're going to be touching more often. We're almost following up every month and a half, 2 months.
You want to jump in on that, or?
Well, it just, I mean, for us, when it's get the database entry, and yes, 3 to 6 months that's awesome. That's a great hot lead. Anything outside of that is certainly is a warm opportunity. But and there's people in our farm, for example, that they went into our database 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And they just called last week. And we've been touching on them and touching on them and touching on them, and 4 years later. So the database entry is equally as important for us is in terms of the opportunity of an 8x8 and a 33.
For sure. Yeah, and the lead, not to keep jumping on this, but it's important. This is an important piece of it, right? And the lead to us is anyone that we get to enter into our database. And then from there, if you're familiar with the CGI tools that Robert downstairs can help you with, if you're not, there's a pipeline, an Excel spreadsheet. And then in that spreadsheet, you put a number on them. So the higher the number, the better that lead is to do a transaction within the next couple of weeks type thing. So for us, we want our leads to get to a number 10, because that means they're ready to buy or sell today. And it's just a matter of following through and moving them up from a 1 to a 5 to a 10 type thing. So however you track it, and that was the one thing I wrote down here, Vincent, you go home, you say you track your numbers, which is incredibly important, right? Because there's no way to measure success without tracking your numbers, right? And how do you, I want to know how each of us does that. How do you do that, Vincent?
Well, I bring usually, like, I barely do more than 200 doors a day. So I usually bring 4 or 5 stacks of cards, stacks of 50. So they look like this. It's a stack of 50.
Right.
I put, every time I meet someone, I just make a little mark here. Then the next stack, I'll transfer the number. So when I'm done, I count the leftover cards and count the contacts, and I know the doors to contacts, and obviously I know the leads, and that's it. So
You know what I like about that?
Simple.
Simple. It's not this big spreadsheet. Every time he finishes a street, he's logging into somewhere.
yeah, and I have a lot of, when I talk about door knocking in different market centers, people tell me about the apps and stuff like this. I just don't see the benefit of that. Like, I don't need to know if someone was home at that point or not. It's not like I'm driving my car back another day and knock on the same door again. It doesn't matter to me. There's about, how many doors do you have in Aurora, Michael? 15,000 doors probably?
Well, I don't venture out
Or
into
12,
as much
12,000.
Aurora as you do.
I'm just saying, there's
Probably, yeah.
enough doors. I don't need to know if someone is home there or not. I'll
Right.
be there in 3 months again, and maybe that person might be home. Just don't overcomplicate it. Like, you're
Yeah.
losing time and energy on stuff that really doesn't matter at the end.
Yeah.
Perfect. Colin, how are you tracking your numbers?
Mojo tracks stuff for me.
Yeah, talk to us a little bit about Mojo.
It's an auto dialer, so it literally it dials. I have it where I'm on a triple dialer right now, actually. So it's literally dialing 3 numbers at once, and the first person that picks up is who I'm talking to. It can sound scary. I was on the fence of almost going till 6 dialers, having 2 headsets.
Baby. Let's do it.
Did that for, I think we attempted that for a couple of days and then realized, okay, we're getting too crazy here. And that was when I was in the mode to just hit numbers, right? So it's 3 numbers. The computer system is dialing 3 numbers at once. Whoever picks up the phone first, that's the person I'm talking to. Someone else picks up while I'm on the phone. As soon as I hang up, it's going to dial that person back. So.
And couple years ago, Colin and I did a video, put it on Facebook. Has anybody ever seen the video of Colin doing the live calls? Yeah. If you haven't, reach out to one of us. We'll try and tag you in that video. It's on Facebook somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's not as crazy as you think it is. It's just like door knocking for the first time, right? You do it now, it's like whatever, it's part of your daily habit. And it's part of Colin's daily habit. And you know what's awesome with it is, I know he's cold calling. He'll pick up, I'll call Colin during the day, even in the morning when I shouldn't be, because I should be doing my own lead gen. He'll answer the call and just leave it here while he's on the cold call. And it's really awesome to hear him talk to the homeowners. Click, 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 and then all of a sudden he jumps into a conversation, right? And it's easy as that. And it's just, what's the script you're using right now, Colin?
My office is next to yours.
You can put-
I guess you would know my script. What's my script? I'm just trying to pull.
The real estate market has really picked up lately. Do you have any plans this year to sell your house?
Oh, there you go.
Nailed it.
Something like that. Nailed it. Yeah, right? Yeah. Yeah, Michael hears it
And the
700 times.
And the funniest is, hi, the real estate market in Aurora has really picked up. Do you have any plans to sell your house? Hello?
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 Hello? Did you just hang up on me? Okay.
What's been, okay, let's play with that. What's been some of the funnier comments that you've had back from that?
There's so much.
Okay, what's been said that you didn't expect?
Actually, yes. Yes.
Hey?
Are you thinking of selling? Yes.
No.
Great.
New script! New script! Where's the
Michael!
The first time someone said yes, I almost fell over.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Then right away, because it's automatic. It's like walking, right? Because for me, it's just walking. As soon as I hear that beep in my head, I'm sure I talk in my sleep as well. As soon as I hear that beep in my head, my script goes on. It doesn't matter who I'm talking to in my office. As soon as I hear that beeps, I get into script. So first time they said yes, I was like, okay. And I think I hang up, and then I call them back. I said, oh, I'm so sorry. Yes. Oh, so you're thinking about selling. Then I went into a new frame of mind. I had to find the scripts. Like, where is that script?
It is funny. Like, I remember one of the first times I had a true lead, a Facebook lead. We were doing some Facebook ads, and I make the phone call, and the first thing the man says to me on the other, which we ended up selling his house, when are you coming to list my house? I'll be there tonight. Cause you know what it is? It's our mindset. Going back to mindset, right, Vincent? It's we have already said our no for everyone, right? When we change that mindset to, what do you say when you're door knocking? What was those 3 lines you say? They're home. They're happy to talk.
They're home. They're happy. They want to do business with me today. They're home. They're happy. They want to do business with me today.
Exactly. That's it. What scripts are you using, Kirby?
What groups for what?
What scripts for say some of your Facebook stuff?
Facebook stuff. Well, right now we just keep the same script. That inventory is still very low, right? And we have buyers looking for homes. Do you want to help the homeless? So that's one of the scripts that we have.
I like that.
They laugh at that one.
What kind of? Yeah. Okay.
Yard sale scripts. It's basically, do you want to sell your home? We're doing an awesome yard sale right now. You can get declutter and everything. So that's what we say at the door.
You really tailor your scripts that you said earlier around the events that you have coming up and you're hosting and no, that's great.
The difference is, I guess, people open the door instead of no's or anything. People open the door and they go, "Oh, Kirby," you know. A lot of it's, "Oh, Kirby," right? Haven't seen you in a long. That's what I'm getting right now. "Oh, Kirby, I haven't seen you in a long time." That's what I'm getting right now.
What does that tell you?
I haven't been at the doors enough. And it's
Yeah.
like, "Come on in, you look so thin, come on in, get something to eat."
Are you the homeless that you're talking about?
You're back in the Italian neighborhoods?
And it's all, around lunchtime I'll hit the homes where I'll get food.
You know your neighborhood.
Yeah, you have to know your people.
Well, Vince and I can attest to the fact that there's nothing better than an enclosed front porch foyer when it's -20.
Yeah.
Ooh, those
yeah.
You know, with the glass porch in front, it's like, oh, it's gonna be warm for 5 seconds.
Or some cold cellar in an Italian home where they serve you like prosciutto and
Yeah.
grappa
drama.
at 10 a.m. That's okay.
That's okay.
Just roll
Yeah.
with it.
So do you drink it?
Yeah, he's got a.
Really?
You gotta oblige.
In general or in Donok?
When you don't know.
Well, I mean that's super rare, right?
Okay.
Like one time was sitting on a porch with someone, had some beer, and one time I was in an Italian house and the guy actually wanted me to have grappa, and I was like, you know what, like
That's good.
you gotta have some fun along the way. Why not?
That's right.
It's all about the fun that you make it, right? Because the more fun you have, that means that those potential clients that you're knocking on the door, like they're just gonna pick up on that vibe, right?
Well,
For
I
sure.
had a guy once, and he opens the door, and he says, I'm working here. And I just thought, okay, I smile. I said, that's funny, so am I. And then I got a smile out of him, and he said, oh, okay, what is it? And he was like, you just gotta,
Yep.
whatever,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Kind of what Kirby said, you know, I hadn't seen you in a while. And part of our mindset is we don't want to call the people that we know,
Yeah.
right? And half the time I make those phone calls, and I'm sure you guys have experienced too. Man, I haven't talked to you in so long, it's so good to hear from you. It's normally the first thing they say. And I always think to myself, why didn't I not call that person 3 months ago?
Yep.
Right? And just to keep, because the more we talk to them, the more they're going to be able to refer us, like what Kirby's doing.
Well, why are you working so hard lead generating?
If you're not going to follow up.
You're not going to follow up. However, man, we have the 300 something people lead generating for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm empowering them to lead generate for us.
absolutely, absolutely.
With little gifts and stuff like that.
Did you go door knocking this morning, Vincent?
Yes.
And what was your script?
My script is super simple, so it's the same. So the door opens, I give him my card right away, take a step back, give him a nice smile, just say, hey, I'm Vincent, working with Keller Williams Realty in the area here. Just wondering if you had any plans to move or sell your house. Move, sell your house.
Come on.
And then I just observe body language.
Yeah.
I noticed, like, I've learned from it. I've done over 100,000 doors now since I'm an agent. You just pick it up. A no, you can pick up a no, you read a yes, you keep digging a bit deeper, I admire the house, like my eyes go up, I say, wow, so how many years have you lived in this beautiful house? Yeah, it's Gary, well, I don't know your name, right? But it's like, 20 years, or first time, we were like original owners, oh, fantastic, congratulations. If you were to move, where would you want to go to?
Sure.
And then it's either no, they're going to take us out in the box, or
Yeah.
we gotta feed first, or it might be like, oh, Peterborough, we got family up there. Oh, family, nice. Do you think it's going to happen the next year or two? So then I dig a bit deeper. But I'd say 99% of the time, any plans to move or sell your house? No. And the body language says no, and I just thank them and move on. Like, I can't waste time and chit-chat around.
Explain to us the first two things you do. You hand the card, and then what do you do?
I take a step back.
And why do you do that?
I mean, it's generally when someone shows up at your door you don't know, you're always a bit skeptical, right? You don't want to be right in their face, so you go kind of like a more defensive, like you respect their space, and you show I'm not here to intrude, I'm just here to introduce myself.
No, that's
The other super important thing that you got to master is mirror and match.
yeah.
When someone opens the door and he's like a big guy, like, hey, what's up? Then I'm like, hey, Vince, Keller Williams Realty in the area. Any plans to move or sell your house? Nah, the market is shit, isn't it? Nah. So if they swear, I swear too. Sure. Because you gotta be on the same level. If it's someone that's like an older lady, it's quiet, and my voice goes quiet too. And thank you very much for your time. And maybe you know anyone. This is everything. You gotta mirror and match. If you're not on the same level, no matter what their plans are or what you want, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
They don't trust you. Same with getting the leads. Sometimes you really get to massage these people. You gotta give it a minute or 2 minutes, engage them in a conversation about the market. When you can feel there's something going, but you just don't want to jump in and say, hey, can I add you to my list of, can I add you to my database, right? You gotta really kind of like build up trust in that minute, 2 minutes that you have, and then you get to know when the right time is to go for the email, the phone, whatever at this point seems the right way to go.
Perfect. Perfect.
Facebook,
Facebook, yeah.
name.
I got on here, talk to us about slam doors or phones, but I think we kind of talked a lot about that, about mindsets, and it's really, who cares?
It doesn't matter.
Who cares? It doesn't matter.
I've never had one door slammed on.
Here, we'll do it right now.
Never.
Yeah.
Never.
Okay, what is the one thing you're having success with right now, Michael?
Door knocking.
Door knocking, good.
Yeah, I mean, door knocking. It's at door knocking, and then as I said earlier, I mean, working our database.
Working the database. Let me ask you this: has your script, does it change throughout the season or the seasons of our real estate cycle?
It did when we were in a hotter market. I mean, in a really hot market, I would look at I'd go and look at what's the active, what's the sold, what's the absorption rate, how many. I mean, if we had 2 weeks of inventory of semis or towns at one point, I mean, absolutely, my script was I would specifically go to the street with towns or semis and say, oh my gosh, have you heard about the new real estate magic trick here today, gone tomorrow? Where for every townhouse we list, we're selling 3 right now. Do you know anybody on your street who has a townhouse to sell and would like to sell quickly? Now it's really just, we're just, are you curious about, are you curious about our market? Do you have any questions about our market? And try again, working to build that relationship at the door. We are always very deliberately focused on the, would you be offended? We have several of your neighbors who belong to our real estate update club. Would you like to be a member?
Oh, I like that. Real
of
estate
club?
update club. That's neat.
Would you like to be a member of that club?
Well, I don't want you to miss out.
And we
don't
wouldn't
want
want you
you
to,
to
that's a good one too.
yeah.
We have several of your neighbors are part of our club where they're getting updates regularly. We certainly wouldn't want you to miss out. Would you be offended? And we use, that's very specific critical language for us. Would you be offended if we stayed in touch and from time to time? Everybody's always, of course I wouldn't be offended.
Yeah, the language is super important, and the would you be offended question is great. I changed, like the moment I go for the lead, I had to change it because I realized at some point I got a lot of I had a good conversation, I felt there's a lead, but I didn't get the information. I said, also, so that they want to move, it's awesome, so what I would love to do is add you to my list of preferred clients so I can keep in touch. It's like, no, I don't want to be on a list, I don't want to be a client, like, whoa, right? What I ask now, and it works brilliant, I look them in the eye and I said, fantastic, would you allow me to keep in touch with you?
I like it.
Can I earn your trust?
You can barely turn that down.
Yep.
And if I feel hesitation, again, it's all about body language. So I say, would you allow me to keep in touch with you?
With a smile.
And then, so when the time comes, and you might be interested in the free market evaluation of your home, we could get together again. So that's kind of the second piece. I don't bring it up right away. I just observe the reaction first after I ask them if they allow. Like, no one wants to disallow things. It's very hard to turn down. And I've got much more successive.
Success.
Sure.
Successful.
Sometimes I forget the language. I got much more success when I ask it that way than the old way with what I would love to do. They don't care what I would love to do. Like, right?
I do it differently. I do
Yeah.
I do FOMO. You know FOMO? That's right.
Yeah.
I do
Fear of
FOMO.
missing out, yeah.
I do FOMO. I don't even ask for it. I just say, hey, I want you. You know, part of my tribe is this. People get my homes that are sold here, homes that are listed. Get invitation to our the neighborhood barbecue park at the park, and then the yard sales, everything. Right, you're gonna be in the know, just like every other owner here. Right. I think I'm just missing you actually. So your email is right, and I just wait.
Silence is good, right?
Okay, it's info. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So
Good.
just-
Another trick that I use. It's quite mean. When I feel I'm getting the lead, but they're kind of hesitant, so I open my book and my pen's down, and I ask them for the phone number and actually start writing it down before they even give it to me. I said, so what's the best phone number to reach you at? 905?
Yeah.
At this point, I'm already writing. It's like they can't.
What are you gonna stop?
Yeah,
You
good
know.
job.
I can't let you stop.
It would be the most awkward thing for them, and then they kind of like, yeah, 905, 727,
Yeah.
whatever it is, right?
No, yes, no.
I literally
Yes,
start
no
writing in front of them the 905.
That's great.
And by that point, then I get more, maybe I get the email. I find getting the email is almost more important than the phone. You can look the phone up if you want.
Yeah.
But people don't really pick up phones that often anymore, but they still read emails. You get in touch with them. So I don't care. Whatever I can get, I'll get. But I'm not heartbroken if they don't give me their phone number. If I at least have the email.
Do any of the systems you use when you send out an email, does it track if that email was opened?
Yeah.
That's important. Hugely important. Hugely important.
I'll tell you what's more important.
What's more important?
Is that when you do that, getting the information, and I know I laugh about it, and I don't know if you guys are doing it, is getting them on Facebook. If you build a Aurora real estate page, like Aurora, the Vincent Aurora homepage or whatever on Facebook, and I build that into a group or a page, and everybody door knocking, you're like, hey, you know what, on my page, you're gonna know about everything that's happening in the community, right?
Yeah. Good point.
Can I add you to, you wanna join that, right? Or give me your phone, so you take their cell phone, and boom, 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 you get them join that group. They don't even have to be your friend on Facebook anymore.
Well, they better not. I don't want to see my.
Yeah, they don't have to.
All of my personal.
That's what they're worried about, realtors, right? So you don't have to be friends with them anymore. That's what I'm getting. Is get their phone and join that group.
Yeah.
You have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Now you get all the other business owners in the area to kind of put good content in there, and you don't have to do anything. You just be the star.
Just be the star.
Yeah.
I like it.
We recently, in terms of when somebody does something, I recently layered an app in through, so on my website and our follow-up boss system, if they are actually in our database system, I have an app on my phone that alerts me the second they're on my website and what they're looking at. And so if I see 2 or 3 hits from that same person over a 5 or 10 minute period and they're starting to click various pages, it's a great opportunity to simply reach out to them and be able to say, hey, listen, I was just thinking of you. Hope that you guys are okay. I haven't talked to you in a long, long time. Do you have any questions about the market at this time? I mean, you obviously don't say, hey, I noticed you were just on my website, because that would be pretty creepy. And then what we've discovered is, they're going to click on certain pages on our website. The moment they start to click into the About pages, or the testimonial pages, now they're curious a little bit more about us, and now it's like, okay, they're taking it to a new level, they want to know more about us, and then we definitely try and get on the phone pretty quickly.
So you see actually what sections they go on the website?
I see exactly which page they looked at. I mean,
They signed in already.
Huh?
If they signed in already, that's how you got your.
They're in my database.
Oh, they're in your
Because they're in my
database.
database, my website recognizes it as follow-up boss and curator are linked.
Right.
So my Slack app, literally, I can see, like, it was like a week ago, one particular person in our database looked at 18 different properties in about a 30-minute period. That's a pretty
That's
important phone
brilliant.
call to make.
Yeah.
So, but they don't have to sign into the database. They're just the database recognizes what their IP address or their name. Like, how does the database know it's
Curator, which is my website provider, has some sort of connectivity with
Yeah.
follow-up boss.
Yeah.
That they recognize each other, and I mean, I can show you the app later.
Cookies, I think.
awesome.
It's really, really cool.
Yeah, that's great.
I have a question for Gary.
Okay.
What do you do on your website to communicate with visitors? I think it's pretty cool.
So I have an instant chat message on the majority of my websites, and it pops up after a few seconds of them being on it and says, hey, do you have any questions? And a lot of people just ignore it, but for the people that don't ignore it, it comes right to my phone, and all of a sudden I'm instant messaging that person. And what I also can do, like Michael's system, is see what pages they've already previously looked at. And right now, because of that messaging system, I'm working on a 10-acre lot in Stouffville that there's big commercial buildings that they want to sell because of that stupid little messaging app. It's not stupid anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
What's the ROI on that?
It's free.
It's free.
It's free. It's
I-
unlimited.
It's my time to do this.
Okay.
Thumb time, yeah.
It's kind of creepy though. Someone's on your website and then say, "Hey, it's real Gary. I'm really here
Yeah.
chatting with you."
Real Gary.
Real Gary. It's a thing, real Gary.
Not
Yeah.
a robot.
That's right. That's right. So the question, I think what I originally asked was, what are you having success with? So let's lead into So if you've had your experience now for a number of years and you've had your ups and downs, you're definitely having success in your lead gen lever. What would you tell yourself as a beginner now that you've had this success? Colin, what would you tell yourself?
Just get out there and do it. It's that simple. Just pick one and do it. Before I was wondering what scripts I will use. One of my scripts, I think I used it for 6 months, was, "You're not thinking of selling, are you?" It was a simple, silly script. "You're not thinking of selling, are you?" "No." "Okay, thank you." I was going for no. And I got, within that same script, I think within a 6 months period, we picked up like 15 appointments. Yeah, well, we are thinking about selling. It doesn't matter what you say, just get out there and say it often enough, and it becomes a script.
Michael, what would you say to yourself?
I'm a high D, which means it's all about results instantly. I would have been a lot more patient with myself. I would have forgiven myself more often. I would have definitely worked harder. In that, I would have knocked on more doors every day. Yeah, I mean, for me personally, the biggest one was the rejection and letting it beat me up. And I wish I hadn't. way
Yeah.
back when.
Yeah. Kirby, same question.
Um,
Experienced Kirby talking to young Kirby.
So I'll tell you what young Kirby did. Young Kirby followed the system from Ignite to 36, 12-3, Mega Camp, family reunions, 6 of those. Doing all that, still do it. I would add in take Landmark earlier in my life, and that would have helped with all the negative talk, all the stories I had. And then MAPS coaching would be the other thing, was do that a little earlier, the transformational coaching.
Right.
That Michael told me like 4 years ago, I think. Remember? The transformational coaching. Yeah, I didn't listen at that time.
Awesome.
Whatever. And I finally did that this month, which is awesome. And that's what I would have told myself. And
That's a big piece of it. And I think all of us here, whether we're in coaching or not, we certainly have a very successful mentor or a coach that we're leaning on all the time.
Absolutely.
For sure.
I would say mentors too.
Yeah.
Mentors. I didn't have mentors. I didn't have that many. I had Matthew Schulman down in the referred office as my mentor. And I think that was it. But now I have like Devin Doherty down in California. Keller Williams there. He's top team, one of the top 5 teams in Keller Williams right now.
Wow.
I have Jeffrey Borum, who does 350 transactions a year down in Florida, and his assistant coaches my assistant. And these mentors, I think, builds more opportunity for us. Yeah.
Visit.
One thing, like I always struggled with the follow-up. I was terrified of picking up the phone and call people. I had no problem showing up at 8:30 in the morning at someone's door, but calling someone at 2 in the afternoon, I thought I was bugging them, and I didn't want to bug them. And I kind of had to learn it the hard way. So, like, I mean, I worked so hard to get all these leads, and the next time I saw them was their names up on MLS on the seller column. What's a role more? So I would tell myself, just don't care. Like you've already done the hard part. You went out and got the lead. Now you got to work it. It's like you went digging for gold and you found all these nuggets, and now they're like somewhere in the cellar, and you're not like making jewelry out of it. So that's probably, and I'm still working at it. I got better at it over the past 3 years. But yeah, the follow up, that's just like that's where the money is. That's what we all say, and it's true. Getting the lead alone is not going to give you the business. The follow-up is getting you the business. Awesome. Without lead generation, there won't be any follow-up. But without follow-up, your lead generation is a waste of time.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Good. That kind of runs through my questions. So if you guys have any questions, now's the time.
Can I just
Absolutely. Yeah. Jump in.
apologize, a quick story. So for those who have taken the Ignite when I teach it, you probably remember my story, and I just want to reiterate. 10 months into the business, less than 10 months, I went to family reunion to quit. I had taken 411 or 144.
443.
443, thank you. which was what Ignite is now. I'd taken that, I'd taken 36-12-3, nothing was working. And I literally said to my wife, I have to go to this convention, because if I don't, I know I'm gonna quit, and I think I'm gonna quit, but I just gotta make sure. When I went to family reunion, I heard one sentence down there. And I'm sure that lots of other stuff was said in all the breakouts, but all I brought home was one sentence, and it was this woman who said, I'd never listed a home in a neighborhood, and within 2 years I had 20% of the market. That's all I needed to hear. And came home, just heard about this thing called Bold, asked our team leader at the time down in Toronto, what's Bold? I have no idea. Took Bold for the first time, and instantly it changed. It's the overnight success story. Well, but it was the months and months and months and months and months of being angry with myself and wanting to quit, desperately wanting to quit. I only share that because I know we're all there. In our first couple of years, we're all there. Even in our 10th year, we're struggling sometimes. Just keep going. Just keep going. And further to the comment of what Kirby just said, and I just kind of reiterate a tiny bit, take advantage of everything that's available to you. Ignite, 36-12-3, which we should probably talk about
Yes,
for the
yes,
office.
yes.
Bold, family reunion, mega camp.
This panel.
This panel, whatever. I mean, I gobbled up everything in my first couple of years. Oh, anyway, sorry.
No, that's good.
Yeah,
That's
maybe if
good.
I can add one thing for all those who are newer in the business. I consider myself being new in the business too. And I'm probably the most impatient person you'll know. I'm a Heidi, maybe Michael's just as impatient, I don't know. But you gotta be patient. You gotta learn to be patient, like no matter what it is. It's not a door knocking, it doesn't happen overnight for me. I think my first listing, and if I hear from other agents, I think that was even kind of fast. I think it took me like 4 or 5 months. It's a slow process, but you just gotta have trust that it's gonna work out at the end, as long as you don't give up.
Yeah.
Stick with it, like it's gonna work.
I feel like I'm the luckiest guy in the world then.
Are you?
Yeah.
You are?
First cold call down in the basement at Keller Williams was a listing.
Good for you.
Yeah, that's probably.
That was the second phone call.
So there's it's a numbers game. So
It's a numbers
after
game.
that, it was
You
a
should
long
have stopped.
time.
Yeah, you should have
You
stopped.
know, Gary Keller makes the comment,
It was a long
and I
time.
heard it at family reunion, and sometimes we succeed so slowly we think we're failing,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, indeed. So any questions for the gentleman? Script, yeah, go ahead.
For the door knockers, with your farm area, how often do you door knock the same area? Is it like quarterly, every other month? And I know you mentioned a couple of scripts that you use. Do you always use the same script, or do you try to bring something different up, like an item of value?
So I just gonna repeat the question because it's being recorded for the people on webcam. So the question again is, how often do you door knock the same area?
Frequency.
The frequency of it, and changing the scripts and kind of follow that line of questioning.
It's the same script over and over again, and just based like 3 to 4 times a year I'm in the same area again. Like my area is the entire town. I don't have a farm. Aurora is my farm, and just based on the numbers, 25 to 30,000 doors a year, and approximately 3-4 times at every door a year.
Colin, I'd like you to answer that question too, actually.
It's the same script. It doesn't change from January to December. Even if I miss your telephone number today or you're not at home today, I'm going to be talking to you in 2.5 months anyway, because I circle through Aurora, Newmarket, Bradford, Stouffville. So that's the area that I'm calling, and I'm back at that telephone number 2.5 months. So it's the same thing. And how I envision it is like a farmer going out there and just planting rice. And he's gonna just be throwing paddies, seeds out there. Some will drop on fertile land, some will drop on rocks, but it doesn't matter. I know if I do that every day, I will be successful. But I will not get success every day out of it, but by doing it every day, I will become successful. So that is why it pains me not to get on the phones every day.
Beautiful. Other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
This is more so directed towards cold calling specifically.
Okay.
I've never done it before. I wouldn't even know where to get like the list.
Yeah.
But with the list, are you able to break it down into certain areas? Like
Absolutely.
certain communities where I live,
Yeah.
you are not allowed to door knock. They're owned by Parkbridge,
Yes.
but there's a lot of business to be had in there. So how do I just focus my attention there?
It's very easy. It's just like a MLS where you can draw a polygraph around a particular area, and it pulls up all the listings in that area. It's the exact same thing. It pulls up all the telephone numbers in that area.
Now that's a
I can
feature.
call you tomorrow afternoon and you can help me.
My assistant, she'll help you.
Yeah. That's a
fine-tune all
feature
that.
within Mojo.
Perfect
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
Perfect answer.
My
Oh, thank you.
assistant.
Yeah.
Can I talk to the frequency thing again?
Yes.
Because I have a funny case story. If you look at MLS and you search Snowshoe Crescent, right? Like they call me the king of Snowshoe Crescent. People that live on Snowshoe Crescent.
Why?
Why? Because I communicate with them so much. Because in the beginning, I would door knock every time I have a listing there. Just listed, just open house, just sold. So in a month, it could have been 3 to 4 times at the door.
You need snowshoes to door knock.
You need snowshoes sometimes.
On Snowshoe
So
Crescent.
total buy and sell of that small street of 200 homes is 15 homes.
Wow.
These couple of years.
Wow. And I remember you
So-
telling me something a few years ago too, Kirby. You focused for a while on some of the main streets into the subdivisions. So
Snowshoe and Simonstown. That's
There
it.
you
2
go.
streets.
every time someone drove in or out of that subdivision, they saw his signs.
They think I list everything there. I don't have. I think I'm third in market share. However, they think I list everything.
Perfect.
Because
We'll
the other
let them
guys would
believe
list.
that.
They list homes in the inside streets.
Yeah.
I list homes on the outside. Yeah, and now I'm getting inside street business, right?
Perfect.
So,
Perfect.
yeah,
Next
that's a
question.
good strategy.
Yes, Michelle.
Systems. I know Michael kind of touched on follow-up boss, just what you guys have felt been successful, and for the years that you've been in business, does the system change a lot? As in like your client care and your follow-up system, or your website provider, or
Okay.
Go ahead.
I mean, I've had, what's the Keller Williams one again?
E-Edge.
E-Edge.
I've had E-Edge, I've had Top Producer, I've had something called Exact, and now we have Follow Up Boss. The database system is, as Gary Keller says, it doesn't matter, just the one that you use is the best database system. Follow Up Boss, we're really starting to learn it better now. Our new manager of operations has been hired, and so she's really digging into that now. So we're improving. You know, I'll be honest with you, I've sucked at follow-up for years, and it's the highest priority for this year and next year to make sure that we really have it improved, and we're using it well and really efficiently. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
yeah, like that's.
What database are you using right now?
I keep trying trials, which is screwing up my time. That's why and because I'm so focused on like the behind the scenes, how it's working. So you actually answered my question. Just whatever ones you're using works.
Yeah.
Gary Keller's was a shoebox
Shoebox.
and index cards.
Yeah.
That's how he convinced his father to lend him $500 when he still had no success in his real estate business. Dad, here's my shoebox, here's how I'm working it. His father said, okay, son, I'll take a risk on you. We're sure glad Gary Keller's dad took a risk on him way back when with $500, because here we are.
Yeah. Colin, your system's a little bit different because you're using Mojo.
Yeah.
And within Mojo, you can update everything in there, and then
Yeah.
that translates to the system, right?
Yeah. So in Mojo, let's say I'm talking to you online today. I'll get all your information, your email address. I'll send you an email, and it's a regular script that is pre-typed already. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me about your real estate needs. We look forward to helping you, something along those lines, or helping you with all your real estate expectations. Something, I can't even remember what it is. It's written so long ago. So that is there. So as soon as their email is in the system, I hit send. Then there's a connection between Mojo and LionDesk. LionDesk is our CRM that we're using. So as soon as I click that button, it pushes it over to LionDesk. So now they're now in my system. There will be receiving emails at least 3 times a month is our system right now. So it's some form of touch. Within that month, they'll get 3 touches from us. So that's already set up, and my admin, my executive assistant, she takes care of all of that. Literally, as soon as I push the button, she receives the notification. She writes a thank you card with our card in it. She mails it out. So all I'm doing, I'm on the phones. I'm not seeing any of that. In the afternoons, this is usually my follow-up time now. When I'm finished here, I have to go back to the office and do my follow-up. And I still have to continue on my calls because I didn't hit all my numbers as yet for the day. So most likely I'll be in the office until 6 today, following up. However, interviewed Tim Heil, one of the best in, cold calling in the U.S., and he literally stops his calling at 11 o'clock, and he does his follow-up from 11 to 12, and then he goes back on the phone, just regular calls. So that is something that we're going to start implementing as well.
Any other questions? Excuse me. Any other questions to wrap up? Yeah.
Just
Go
one
ahead.
more with the follow-up, whether you're door knocking, cold calling, and even with Facebook, the people that you've called, if you've picked up a lead or door knocked like that morning, are you following up then that afternoon? Like,
It depends. It depends on the lead. For instance, this morning she's like, yeah, well, we're on the fence of selling. Couldn't book an appointment. I was unsuccessful in booking an appointment today. She said, here's what, give me a call back in 2 days. So that's a 2 days. If they say give me a call back in 6 months, I'm calling them back in 3 months. Right? Whatever they say, it's usually half of that. Sometimes.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Well, again, it's like, what's your 8x8? What's your 33 touch? And Colin just alluded to what I understand is the new MRE, which is 36 touch.
Yeah.
But what is your 8x8? The moment you meet somebody, what's your contact once a week for the next 8 weeks to solidify you as the realtor of choice for them?
You want the new MREA 2 numbers?
yeah.
36 touch a year.
Yeah.
19 touches replaces the 12 direct now.
Okay.
12 touch each year, and then the 7 to cement. Replaces the 8x8 now.
The 7 cement. And what does the new REA say is number of hours lead generation now? My understanding is now 4
4 hours. Well, that's
from 3.
You need to do.
Our
Minimum.
agents do 4 now.
So a 12 by 12 is now a what? 19?
19 now, yeah. For the
Okay.
farm area, you'll do 19 touches.
Okay.
Cool.
I think
Mo,
it's important.
we'll do 2 questions. We'll go Mo, and then we'll go here.
Yeah, I have few questions, but all related together. I want to ask one by one. When we are saying door knocking, or to meet someone face to face by any other way, what's the difference? Is it all considered same like door knocking?
It could be, yeah. I mean, your script, and maybe you guys could chime in on this. Your script for a door knock is very specific, right? You're saying the same thing over and over again. It's that rhythm that we talked about. And perhaps while we're going through our day at the coffee shop or whomever, maybe that script's a little bit different. Would
That
it not
script
be?
is definitely different.
Will be different?
You know what? To put it in the words of Marvin Alexander, the person who has the most meaningful conversations every day wins.
Good answer.
So
yeah.
it's, this is what you say at the door. When I say to somebody in the Starbucks, what I say to somebody at Chuck's Roadhouse on Bayview, where everybody knows me, and I'm in for lunch usually a couple of times a week, only Coke or soda water. I mean, the conversations I have there are completely different than the conversation I would have with someone for 30 seconds at a Starbucks versus at door. Don't misinterpret it's just about a meaningful conversation.
Yeah,
Right?
that's awesome.
Okay, and to start, do you need to introduce yourself or to ask a question? Are you planning to move or?
In all of our conversation, we introduce ourselves first, whether it's at the door or over the phone.
Yeah.
Hi, good morning. My name is Colin Campbell from the Campbell team at Keller Williams. The real estate market is now starting to pick up again. Do you have any plans this year to sell your house?
Okay, this is on point. You need to have everybody have his business card, sure, this is. What else? Do you need something else
Nothing
or
else.
business card is enough?
You know what? You don't even need a business card, frankly.
I don't have
Just,
business
yeah,
cards.
Personality.
you just go out there and, hey, it's Michael Tuff at Keller Williams Real Estate. We're just out chatting with the neighbors. There's a couple houses for sale. Would you happen to know have any family or friends who'd like to make a move into the neighborhood? We'd sure appreciate the opportunity to help them and show them that house.
So you are not giving your business
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
It's like I said earlier. You know, don't wait for your website to be ready to start lead generating. Don't wait for your signs till you're ready to start lead generating. Just lead generate. You know, it's, hey, listen, what are some of the great things you like? I'm just here to take a survey. What are some of the great things you like about your neighborhood that I can share with our buyers?
That's a good one.
Awesome. It was bold.
It's
It was
bold.
bold,
Yeah,
man.
of course it is.
It's and it's, yeah, of course you want to have a business card. Just, you know,
Those
I
ones.
used to go through a ton of business cards every year, and now we go through these because these are what we specifically lead now. But
So you are giving them this.
I am now. Well, when I started, I printed flyers on my printer at home that I took a picture from my backyard because I knew the neighbor on this side was going to list. I knew the neighbor on that side was going to list. Neither was going to list with me because the ink was still wet on my RICO license. And I took a picture from my backyard and said, "How'd you like this view from your new home?" And I just printed on my printer and I went out and door knocked. Hence, I almost had a RICO complaint because allegedly I muddied the waters and confused who the listing agent was.
Does it matter?
That tends to be a theme with you in Rico.
It was just the one time.
Oh, okay,
It was my
okay.
first week in real estate.
Oh, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
no.
You have business cards. You have business
Ask for
cards.
forgiveness later.
Yeah, you have business cards. Yeah.
Sure.
So you go door knocking and you put it at the door jamb.
Yeah.
Where the door meets the jamb, and it stays there, right? Is that what you do too?
Yeah, well, mine have a different form. It's not my business cards, my door knocking cards.
Yeah.
So they look like this.
You put on the jamb too, right?
And
do
no, actually,
you put those
I put them like this in the door handle.
Yep.
Oh,
So when they come home, there's no way they get into their door without taking my card in their hands. And when they're home and didn't open the door, when they open the door doesn't, the card doesn't just fly through the porch. So it has this. I get about every 5,000 of those that I leave at the door. I'm getting a call for an appointment, but I'm not counting on that. That's not my. Yeah, sure. I leave them
Talk to
because
you
it's
later.
all. If I'm at the door anyway, why wouldn't I leave anything? Like it's almost like I'm at the same time.
Yep.
I have someone flyering for me, which happens to be myself, but it doesn't matter. I'm there anyway.
Yeah.
So and yeah, if I do 30,000 a year, I'll get about 5-6 listing appointments from someone who wasn't home but saw the card. And the reason why they're in a bookmark size is so I can kind of like bend them and put them in the door handle.
That's definitely important, Vincent, is just because they're not home, don't think that they're ready to sell. And we sold a $1.3 million home last year. He called us because Steve, one of my agents, left our brochure behind.
Yeah.
Which cost what, 2 cents?
I mean,
Yeah,
3 of our
probably
infill
2 cents.
listings have been people that we didn't actually speak to at the door.
Yeah.
Got your flyer. We're thinking of selling. When can we meet?
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Last question.
I had a question regarding follow-up. How much is too much where you come to the terms that they're either working with somebody else or they don't want to work with you anymore?
I'm going to answer this. Can I answer this? Tony
Like,
DeSello, remember?
give me the situation
you
too.
could.
Because I was past like a lead where we were just communicating over email. So I had nothing else from them. She took my card, said we'll contact you via email. So I think I'm having the problem with like kind of digging deeper to be like, do you want me to represent you? That sort of situation. And I even contacted them back a few times, said, hey, there's been a price drop. You know, it was like their dream home is a little cabin in the woods. And, you know, I was trying to work with them here, but I'm just getting nothing back, even though there's a big price drop in it. And I'm just like, I don't really know what else to do.
So I thought the answer was, or I thought the question was a little bit different, and I'm going to end with what I thought it was. But Michael's chomping at the bit, I think.
Well, only they want a cabin in the woods.
Yeah.
So you know what? Go to a DVD store and buy that movie called Cabin in the Woods. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I can help make sure this never happens to you when you buy your cabin in the woods.
That's brilliant.
Go for it. Go for it.
So what did he do? What has he done?
Humor.
Humor, but he's
Don't play it safe.
he's allowing you to stand out from the crowd.
Okay.
And we're playing to their motivation. They want a cabin in the woods, just not this one. And I can make sure this doesn't happen to you.
Yeah. So and the other thing that I would add, no, that's brilliant. I didn't get there.
Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to there.
That's my mind. It just woo.
Yeah. Zig Ziglar. Is everyone familiar with Zig Ziglar?
Yep.
He's one of my all-time favorites. And his line is, and he's from the sales background. He's I don't think anyone's better at him than teaching sales. If someone is saying no to you, or not following up with you, you haven't done a good enough job explaining your value. Like, man, that
Yep.
cuts deep,
Yeah.
but it's so true, right? They're not ready to list with you. You haven't done a good enough job explaining your value. So go back to that. Now it's a little bit different than your situation, but and I'm always reminded of things like that when comments like this come up.
Yeah, let me add one thing. You asked how much is too much. All I can say is like I've lost more business by not wanting to bother people than by actually bothering people.
Yeah.
You know, there might be the odd one that just like has had enough of you calling or emailing, is like, leave me alone, right? But you're gonna lose more business from trying not to, what do you think, is bothering people. So I don't think there's too much.
No.
Yeah, you follow up until they tell you not to.
Until they
And
Well,
so-
you remember Colin and I were walking through family reunion together this past February. We walked by the MAPS coaching booth, and one of our MAPS coaching friends pulls us over and says, "You got to listen to Tony DeCello right now." So he's doing a little stand-up. There's about 15 people around him, and Tony DeCello is the top MAPS coach and runs that program, and is a brilliant man. And he's talking about our databases, remember?
Yep.
And it's about follow-up. And his question to us was, who's ever shopped on Amazon?
Yep.
Every day. And then his next question was, how often does Amazon email you at night or you see their ad pop up of that very thing you were looking at? Every day.
Amazon touches the average person maybe 4 to 5 times a week. Now we don't want to call that person
A year, 4 or 5 times a year.
4 times a year because we think we're bothering them, right?
And
Amazon have figured it out.
Yeah. His message was just keep calling, contacting. Don't worry about the no's. You're after the S's, right? And then I
Yes.
thought, man.
And if they're not
So
super,
true.
if they're not super hot, I would say call them once a month, maybe twice a month,
No uglies, eh?
and support with like emails, some updates along the way. It's just as a general rule.
Something else we do is, maybe I'm calling 123 Main Street, and well, we're really not sure. You know what? I'm in the area next week, Tuesday. I'm meeting with some of the neighbors anyway. Why don't I stop by and say hi, introduce myself, and within that time, I'll give you a quick evaluation of what your home is worth. You're my first person I'm going to meet on that street. I'm in the area. I live in the area, so how much does it take for me
Still
to
in New York region,
drive
right?
over?
Right?
Or just
Get
not
out of
the
my
door.
farm.
Main Street?
Beautiful. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Any last comments you want to make on what we've talked about here? Just do it.
Just do it. Fail fast, fail often. Just get out there and fail.
Yeah, lead generation is the foundation of your real estate business. If you don't have that part of your business or your day, I don't want to be negative, but I don't see how anyone could succeed without lead gen. Like, you can't rely on your family or friends, because how often are they moving? Like, when I came here, I had no other choice. My friends were back in Switzerland. My family was back there. Every single person I got to know was a real estate agent. Because my other side of the family isn't real estate. I didn't know anyone. I had to ask strangers for business, and make that part of your plan. The family and friends. This is just like the icing on the cake. It's like a free shot out of something, but that's not what you can build it on, I think.
Perfect.
I have a couple observations.
Okay, let's have it.
Aha is actually listening to everybody here. That the 5 people up here, I don't find that we're particularly very smart. That's one observation.
I resemble that.
That's one observation. I don't.
You just
I don't think,
you just know it, right?
I just know. I don't think the 5 of us are
You're the
really that
smart one.
special, really. No. Number 2 is I heard that you guys are just plugging into some sort of. Bring that book up again. It just seems like you guys are all plugging into some sort of system, right? So plug and play, and just following the rules, your principles, and being consistent. I see that, and I see number 3. The phone went up. I forgot what number 3 was. But I find number 3 was that. So we're not particularly very smart. I find that we're plugging into a system and just doing it consistently. And then number 3 is, yeah, I find you guys very different. Not like the rest of the realtors. You have something special with each one of you. A charismatic kind of feeling. And I don't know what you guys did to do that. I really want to interview you guys one day to talk about that. But you guys are special in some way. There's this energy about you when you speak. Okay, that's magnetic.
Thank you.
And I think that's very key in this lead gen thing. If this guy showed up at my door, I'll spend a couple. I'm not, not gay or anything.
Not like there's anything wrong with
Not
that.
that anything
there's
wrong.
anything
We're
wrong.
gonna point out I'm not. Even so, I would talk to this handsome young man for like 5 more minutes.
Did it just get weird in here?
I gotta speak to that for just 1 second, okay? This was like 2 years ago, and there was this lady whose house, she had never been home. She was never home. I had knocked her door probably 4 times, 5 times a year for 4 or 5 years. All of a sudden, this sign pops up, the Mitchell team, Vincent Bongard on her front lawn. And I was like, what the heck, man?
Who's this guy?
Good grief. It was his 3rd listing in my farm in like 3 months. If you have a farm, you're tracking who's doing what in your
And I like that he called it my farm.
It is my farm.
It
It
is,
is
yeah.
my farm. Weeds, get out.
My farm.
So anyway, so I get to the house. I'm doing a quick inspect to have a look at the house, and the woman actually was home. As I'm walking inside, I said, "My gosh, I've knocked on your door. I don't know how many times." I said, "I know, I get it. He's a lot more handsome than I am, and his voice has something magical to it, doesn't it?" And she just laughed. And she said, "Yep, that's it."
I knew it.
That's it. That sounds like a good spot to finish. Beautiful. Well, let's thank the panel.